Hi guys, welcome to a new video. In this video we are going to be making a bubu dress with v-neck placket. If this is your vibe, keep watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified whenever I make a new post. Thank you. So for this style, you'll be needing about 4 yards of Ankara fabric, your tape, your scissors, your ruler, and your chalk. So for an Ankara, the length of an Ankara is usually 44 to 45 inches, and it will not be enough for the length of this bubu. So you're going to go up and measure, like you're trying to measure the yard, and measure out 62 inches. You're going to be doing this in 2 places for the front and the back piece. So remember, I cut out 2 pieces of each, and then I've gone ahead to fold them in 2. So you have 4 pieces. So this is 2 pieces folded in 2 for the front and the back. You're going to iron it so that you get that crease in the middle, because you need it to align your center properly. I'll just go ahead and give it a good press so it will lay very flat and neat. There's no need drawing a starting line since the upper part of this is very straight. So I'll go ahead and take my neck measurement. So I'll be using a neck width of 3.5 inches and a neck depth of 1.5 inch. I'll mark my point and create a curve just like you see me doing. The next thing to do, because this is going to be a cut together, you can either take your measurement from your center back to where you want your sleeve to be, or you can take your shoulder measurement just like I'm doing, and then you add your sleeve length just like I'm doing. My sleeve length is 10 inch, so I've gone ahead to mark the point where 10 inch falls on. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my shoulder slope, which is 1 inch. You can do 1.5 depending on how you want it to slope. And then I'll connect my shoulder slope to my neckline just like you see me doing. The next step is to get how wide you want your arm to be, and in this case I'm using 12 inches. You can decide to go higher or lower. I thought about it and I decided to add an extra inch, which is going to serve as the joining allowance. And with a ruler I'm connecting the points together like so. Now this bubu measurement is the same everywhere, so you're going to take the widest part of your body or of the measurement you're working with. In this case, it is the hip measurement. So this is me taking the hip measurement. After which I'm going to be adding an allowance of 3 inches for ease, and then 1 inch for my allowance, which is my joining allowance. I measured what I have there, and then I'm going to be marking the point across the whole bubu just to give me a straight line. The next thing to do is to connect all the points just like so to the end of the bubu. I'm also going to get a curve on my armhole. That part will serve as my armhole. Just try to curve it a little bit. Then you go ahead, get your scissors and cut on all the lines that you have made, just like you see me doing. After cutting this, you're going to have 2 pieces, one for the front and one for the back. So I'll go ahead and remove the one for the back just like I'm doing, and then you'll be left with the one for the front. Now if you look at the style, you see it's a v-neck. So this is me trying to measure where I want my v-neck to start, and I use 9 inches. You can choose to go higher or lower. I'll use my ruler to get my v. This is just me trying to make sure the neck point is exactly where I want it to be, and then I'll go ahead and cut just like so. After cutting, I opened it a little bit just to see how wide it is, and it is okay for me. The next step is to cut out the v-neck placket, and for this I'll be using a black crepe fabric. And make sure it is at least 10 inches wide on fold. As you can see, this was folded. As you can see, I was just trying to measure how wide I want it to be sure that it would be enough. It was enough for me. I used a pin to hold this down, and then I get my pressing iron to lay it flat just so it will come out neatly. After which I'll go ahead and cut. Just make sure you follow the lines of the neck exactly, just like you see me doing. I'm also going to trim down the shoulder so it will match with the Ankara, just like so. Then you go ahead to open down your pins, and this is exactly what it will be looking like. Now you can make your placket how wide or narrow you want it to be. I used 3.5 because that's what my client wanted. Now for the length of this placket, I used her waistline, which is 17 inches. So from the beginning of the placket to where it is going to stop, I use 17 inches. I tried to get a V shape and then I cut it out just like so. So this placket is 3.5 inches wide and 17 inches long. After I was done, this is exactly what it looks like. I decided that the fabric was a little bit too light. So I went ahead to iron hairstay on it just to give it a little depth. The next step is to place your placket on your bubu. So what you are going to do, you are going to place the right side of your placket on the wrong side of this fabric. So you can see that that's the right side of my placket and I'm placing it on the wrong side of my bubu. So when I turn it over, it will come to the front. Then I'll go ahead to pin this down, pin it carefully. I'm also trying to pin the middle to where I have my crease line so I can be sure that the V is exactly at the middle. I'm going to sew round the neckline. After I was done sewing with 0.5, this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and notch all the corners gently. Then I'll turn this placket to the right side, just like so. Turn it over to the right side. This is exactly what it is going to look like by the time you are done. I'll give this a good press so it can lay neatly and flatter. After ironing, I'll go ahead and fold the edges of this placket just like you see me doing. You can fold it by 0.5 inches or lesser just to give it a neat finish. I'm going in with my irons before my pin so it will make it flatter and neater. You can also use a hemming gun for this process to make it easier for you. I'll go ahead and pin every part carefully and then I'll take it to my sewing machine to sew. After I was done stitching it down, this is what it looks like. It came out very well. This is exactly what you're going to get. I'll set it aside. Now I'm going to be using a facing for the neckline of the back piece. So I'm just going to trace the neckline on a fabric that is on fold. This fabric should be at least 8 inches wide and maybe 6 inches long. I'm going to also use 3.5 for my facing. I marked the point and then I go ahead to cut it out. This is what the facing looks like. I'll go ahead and turn them out so it will not frill, and then you place it right in the center of the back neckline, and then you're just going to go ahead and sew using 0.5 inches. After stitching this down, you notch the neckline a little bit and then you turn it over to the right side. Give it a good press and this is exactly what it will look like. The next step is to place the front and the back right side facing each other, right sides facing each other. And now you're going to use the facing of the back piece to come on top of everything, just like you see me doing. Place the facing of the back and use it to cover everything for the front and pin it down. Please just watch what I'm doing. You take the facing for the back and then you place it on top of everything and then you pin it just like so. And then you go to your sewing machine and sew it with 0.5 inches down to the end. I've gone ahead to sew and use my weaving machine to weave it, and this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like in front and this is what it looks like at the back. Now this style also has a crepe fabric on the sleeve and I'm just trying to measure out what I'll be cutting out of the crepe. Now the sleeve is 26 inches long, so I'm going to be cutting out a crepe fabric that is at least 28 inches long and 2.5 inches wide on fold. That means if you open it, it will be 5 inches. So 2.5 inches wide on fold. After cutting it out, this is what it looks like. I cut out 2 pieces for the both sleeves. I'm notching the middle point of this crepe. Now I'm going to be placing the rough edge on the right side of this fabric. Please just watch what I'm doing, and then I'll go to my machine and sew it by 0.5 inches. This is what it looks like when I was done for one sleeve, and this is what it looks like for the other sleeve. The next step is to join the front and the back together. So I'm just trying to make sure that they're aligned. You can go ahead and pin this down, and then you go down by 1 inch, because that's my sewing allowance, 1 inch up until the end. After stitching this down, I remembered I wanted to put a pocket. So this is me marking the point where 17 inches is. That's where I want the pocket to start from. The pocket is supposed to be 7 inch. So I'm also marking the point where 7 inch stops. There are different ways to cut out your pocket, but for this one, I'm just going to be placing my hand and measuring my hand. This is something that is just really easy to do. After I was done, I had 4 pieces for this pocket. You need 2 on both sides. So this is how you're going to be placing the pocket. Please watch what I'm doing. You're going to pin it down so it will look neat on the inside. So the joining will be on the back of the bubu. You do the same thing for both sides. Pin it down. After pinning it down, you take it to your machine and you stitch the lines where you pinned. Just stitch it across, and this is exactly what it will look like when you are done. Now the next step is to take this to your sewing machine. You're just going to follow the lines like my hand. You're going to go 1/2 inch round, and then you're going to tack it on the 7-inch point so it will not lose, because that part will be open. You do this for both sides of your pocket. After doing this, you turn your bubu to the right side and then you give it a good press. I decided to throw on some stones on the placket. So this is me just throwing in some stones just to make it look a little bit nicer. After doing this, I'll go ahead to hem the bottom of this bubu, and that'll be all. This is how it came out. I think it was really nice. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified whenever I make a new post. Thank you.